Almost every household has some piece of power equipment. If not a rototiller, then at least a lawnmower to help make lawn chores easier and quicker. Now, these pieces of power equipment make your life much simpler, save you time, make the chores much easier. But if they're not maintained properly and if they're not used correctly, they can be a hazard both to the operator and to anyone who happens to be near. One of your most important safety tools on any piece of power equipment is the owner's and operator's manual. In this manual, you'll find just about everything you'll need to know from maintenance, assembly, and most important is the section on safety, safe operation of your equipment. Anyone who operates that piece of equipment should read that owner's manual thoroughly before ever starting to operate it. This includes anyone in the household who is going to be operating it. Even if you've been using the equipment for several years, it's not going to hurt you at all to go back, just look through it quickly but thoroughly, and just brush up on some of the safety tips and operating tips that are in there. One of the most important things you can look for when you're in there is just find out exactly what all these levers and switches, knobs and whatnot, all your gauges and lights, find out exactly what they do and what it means when that little red light's flashing before you get stuck out in the middle of the lawn and you're suddenly confronted with a situation and have no idea what's going on and no idea how to correct it. So make certain you know what the controls are there for and how to use them properly before ever operating the equipment. If you've got a lawn and garden tractor, they're generally equipped with dual brakes. You'll have a left brake, which will lock up the left wheel and leave the right wheel free running, and right brake, which does just the reverse. It locks up the right wheel and leaves the left one turning. These are useful for when you're trying to make very tight turns. It actually is very rare that you will need this. Especially if you're mowing the lawns, you never want to make as tight a turn as you'd require to use the brakes when your mower deck is down and running. There's just too much sideways stress on that mower deck. So for most purposes, you want to leave your brakes locked together, especially if you're moving from one spot to another and are moving at a fairly rapid rate of speed. Still safely, but more than just a crawl. Because if you make a panic stop with the brakes unlocked and happen to hit just the left side, that'll lock up your left wheel, the tractor will shift, and you're liable to fall over with the tractor on top of you. So whenever you're moving quickly, and actually for most situations, keep your brakes locked together. So if you do have a panic stop, both brakes will lock up evenly and safely. Most of the implements that come with the tractor such as this have their own individual operator's manual, which gives the safety tips specific for that implement. Also, they give proper installation instructions. It's very important that these implements be attached to the tractor properly, not only for proper use so that they work correctly, but if they're not on properly, they're not attached correctly, the belt may come off, the implement may get jammed, it may fall off. Any of these can result in an extremely dangerous situation. So again, read the operator's manual, make certain all implements are attached correctly. It's also important for safe operation and running of your equipment just to keep up with the general engine and equipment maintenance so that it's running properly so the engine doesn't overheat. It's also important to keep the engine compartment clear of debris, leaves, grass clippings. This can cause two problems. On an air-cooled engine, that air and debris blocks the airflow and prevents the engine from cooling properly and can damage the engine. But probably the worst danger from it is that as it becomes dry, it's like tinder. And if it comes in contact with the muffler or the hot engine, It can catch fire and cause a definite hazard, especially if you're sitting on the equipment when it starts burning. Never work on the engine while it's hot. You can receive very severe burns. The muffler will get extremely hot and the engine itself is very hot. Inspect the whole equipment regularly. Any missing pieces should be replaced quickly. Any broken pieces obviously should be replaced quickly. Even if they themselves are not crucial, them being missing causes extra stress on other parts of the implement and can cause the other parts to fail. So get a small problem solved while it's small instead of letting it become a large hazard and a large expense to repair. The different types of implements often take different types of fuel. Unleaded, leaded, two-cycle engines will need a gas-oil mixture, and usually you can't interchange these. So especially if you have more than one type of power equipment, label your cans so that you know exactly what you're pouring into your implement before you pour it in. Also, always store your fuel in an approved container. Never store it in glass or plastic containers or just regular jugs. And they do have approved types of plastic gasoline containers, but make certain that's what it was designed for. Don't just use an antifreeze jug just because it's handy. Store it in a place where it's away from open flames and sparks. When you refuel your implement, never do it while the engine is running. Never do it while the engine is hot. Wipe up any spills as soon as they happen, and don't start the implement directly over a place where you have just spilled some gas. Also, don't overfill the gas tank, especially if the fuel is a little bit cool. When it goes in the tank and starts warming up, it will expand, and if you've got that tank chock full, as it warms and expands, it can start spilling out and create a definite fire hazard. Another point, on push equipment, always get it outside before you start the equipment. On tractors or riding lawn mowers, have the garage door open and the way clear, so as soon as you start the engine, you can move the implement outside. Just as with cars, these engines produce carbon monoxide. It's a definite hazard in an enclosed space. Never operate this equipment inside where there is no ventilation. Make certain that your mower deck is disengaged and the engine turned off before ever checking underneath to check the blades or to clear out the tangle in the blades. On a push mower, make certain it's turned off and remove the spark plug wire from the spark plug and push it back out of the way just to prevent accidental starting of the engine. When you're mowing, keep children or pets well away from the area that you're mowing. The ends of those mower blades are can be turning in excess of 200 miles per hour. If they catch a stone or a stick, it can be flung very high speed, very long distances. So keep pets and children well away from the area. It's a good idea to walk the area, pick up any sticks or stones before you get out there and mow. One other point, if you have a riding mower or a tractor with a mower deck, there should be no one on that tractor except the operator. These are one-person machines. There's no place on here safely for any other passenger, either on the fender or on your lap. On the fender, it can easily fall off. If you're backing up, get hit by the mower or by the tiller if you're tilling. If a child is in your lap, it's in the way to get to the controls quickly in an emergency situation. Keep anyone except the operator off of that tractor. If you need to back up with the mower running, do so very carefully, turn around and make certain there's nobody behind you. This is another reason never to let the children ride on the mower. If they once get in the habit of having a ride around the lawn on the mower, you never know when they're going to come running up to ask for another ride. And it might be just as you're backing up and they come up in your blind spot. So train the children to stay away from you while you're out mowing the lawn. If you have any low-hanging branches in your yard, it's best from a safety point of view, to prune them off so you don't knock yourself off of the mower as you're trying to get underneath them. If you don't want to remove those branches, seriously consider planting some shrubbery or ground cover or mulching the area under the tree so that you don't need to mow. That way you can keep the branch and still not have a dangerous situation. If you're mowing on slopes, if you have a riding lawnmower, make certain you go up and down the slopes. That's the most stable direction for a tractor or a riding lawnmower, is up and down the slope. If you're mowing with a push mower, you do just the opposite. You go across the slope. That's so if you happen to slip and your feet come out from under you, they go down the slope, and if you let loose of the lawnmower, it goes down someplace else. If you're going down the slope and you slip, your feet are going right into the mower. If you're going up and you slip, the mower is going to come right back down on you. So remember, a tractor or a riding mower goes up and down the slope. A push mower goes across the slope. When you're dealing with rototillers, the tines aren't moving anywhere near as fast as the blades of a mower, but they are moving plenty fast to be throwing objects, and definitely fast enough to be cutting off toes or fingers if you get them in the way. So a lot of the same precautions for mowers also go for tillers. With tillers, especially look for strings that you use to mark out rows the year before, and any stakes that might jam the tiller. And especially if you're going in on new ground, don't try and till the whole depth right from the start. If you try and do that, most tillers are going to dig in and take off, and you'll have a tiller off on a rampage. Especially if you're starting new ground, be certain you know and rehearse in your mind what you need to do to turn that tiller off quickly and get those tines disengaged so you don't have a tiller taking off and running into the building or into someone else. It's best on new ground to go slowly. Just till the top inch or two the first time over, then go back again, reset the depth, and go back an inch or so deeper. Go slowly and just take it down a little bit at a time, and make certain that you're ready to stop that tiller at any time in case it takes off. Some other types of power equipment, such as chainsaws and lawn trimmers, aren't quite so common, but they are out there. They have their own special sets of safety instructions. Read the manuals and make certain, again, that you know safety precautions. On chainsaws and lawn trimmers especially, wear eye protection. You're crazy if you don't, especially those lawn trimmers where the head is whipping around so fast you can get a little stone knocked up, bounce off the house and into your eye quicker than you think. So take the precaution with those and make sure you wear eye guards. Most power equipment will have at least some special safety features built into them. Either belt or chain guards, safety switches, specially designed discharge chutes on the mower decks, or decals placed in different spots to either warn you of particular dangers or to give you instructions on safe operation of the equipment. Now, all of these features aren't designed by sadistic manufacturers just to annoy you. They're put there for your protection. Don't remove the decals. Make certain you can read them, read the instructions, and follow them. Don't try and remove the belt guards. Don't disconnect switches. Don't tamper with any of these safety features. They're put there for your protection and your family's protection. Now, a lot of what I've been talking about, you're saying is just common sense, and that's quite true. But most accidents happen when you start getting lax, when you start doing things automatically and don't pay attention to what you're doing. So read your owner's manual to make certain that you know all the things that need to be done. Use a little common sense and use a lot of care. We want to keep you around for many more gardening seasons to come.